Awesome. Ben Muresan is joining us. He is the CEO of Ben Humble from Ontario, Canada, the largest home buyer in Canada there, and also Chris Rude's most successful student, one of his mentors, which I'm excited to hear about, brought the American Wholesale business model up north to Canada there and made it work despite legal differences, which we'll definitely touch on today amongst a bunch of other things. But Ben, how's it going, man?
Awesome, man. Glad to be here, brother.
Appreciate that. So tell me, man, how are we having this conversation here, man? How are you at the level that you have a booking team that reaches out to get interviews booked for you? Chris Rude's most successful student, living an awesome life, helping people move the needle forward by providing value. Where'd this all start?
So it all starts with me. Like, I'm an immigrant from Romania. Our family actually escaped communism right before the revolution. So we've got an amazing journey where my father basically decided to flee the country in the midst of all this communist dictatorship. And he actually took 3 of us children. He had 5 kids at the time, took 3 of us, fled the country, had to leave 2 kids behind. We landed in a refugee camp in Austria. Successfully, by the grace of God, we got there. And we spent a year in that refugee camp. And one of the most pivotal moments in our lives were the day that they actually ended up killing the communist dictator back home in Romania. And my mom was pregnant at the time. She ran. So on a day there, I believe it was March the 5th, if I remember correctly, my sister was born in Austria, and our 2 siblings were reunited with us on that same day. So we were 3 kids in the morning, 6 kids in the evening. And so to understand everything I've done, you have to understand where I've started. So I've got massive gratitude. The reason I go by the humble CEO, everything I do is humble, because I really want to keep in perspective where we've come from and what we've done, and how we just have a massive purpose on this earth to help serve people and just keep growing every day. So a lot of it comes from the personal development mindset. A lot of it comes from that, but really just the humble beginnings. So everything I've done is just an accumulation of small daily activities or small compounding effects over the long term. So that for me is my biggest piece, is the personal development side and just moving forward every day.
Love that, man. I love how you broke that down as far as just daily action compounded over time. Compound Effect is one of my favorite books and one of the biggest things that resonated in my kind of operating system of how I function and make decisions, behavior, stuff like that.
Yeah, mine too, man. I like reading a book. It's called The Slight Edge. Have you read that one?
I haven't. I heard that's similar to Compound Effect.
Yeah, similar, but basically just says that it's the daily consistent actions over time, just like the compound effect. The reason why we don't do them, like working out, like growing a business, like personal development, it's just as easy to do and just as easy to not do and push until tomorrow. So really when I started understanding that concept better in my mind, I realized I can push out my workout till tomorrow, or making this cold call, or doing whatever, or I can just do it today. And I'm not going to see the consequence or the result of that action for maybe the next 10 years. But 10 years from now, that daily consistent action is going to show in massive levels. Whereas if I don't do it today, I'm just not going to get anywhere.
100%. I love that. Yeah, 100%. I love that, man. And to take that kind of a level deeper, to peel back layers of the onion deeper, that's kind of how I was maybe like 6 years ago when I first read Think and Grow Rich. And I kind of have a mindset of like, you can live life one of 2 ways. Either purposely trying to program your mind with what you want, like abundance thoughts and setting goals and stuff like that, or you can just let whatever dictate, like your peers, watching the news, watching whatever, kind of dictate how your subconscious is programmed, behavior, action, everything you take. It's about the same amount as energy. It's just those are the 2 ways you can live life from a general sense. So I love how you broke that down a little bit more.
I love that you're bringing that up, because I think it's so pivotal. I know we talk about wholesaling and investing and all that stuff is great, but these are the core fundamentals. Like my mentor and I, Chris Rude and I, we have these really deep conversations on this exact topic. And we realized like there's only really 2 options in life. And it's very similar to what you just talked about. You can choose, it's a choice, to live through fear or through faith. It's 2 options. You can decide to put in the work and have the faith and have the understanding that it will pay off in the end. Or you can make a decision to live through fear, and then every day you're holding back your potential because you've got all these different concerns. And it's not even the fear. I was reading this actually yesterday. It's not even the fear of doing the thing. It's the fear of the fear that holds us back. So like if we're about to jump out of a plane, the fear of jumping out of the plane is far greater than just the action of jumping out the plane. Because the moment you've jumped out, you've liberated that fear. Now you're just going. So the fear of you dying, is either real or it's not real, but you're there in that moment. But it's the fear of the failure or the fear of the fear that holds us back. So I love what you're touching on this point, because I think that's the key difference between people who excel at life and they generate and they get to where they want to be, and people that look back and say, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I played small.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Let's take that a little bit deeper, just because not everybody listening to this has access to a high level guy like Chris Root as one of his main mentors. How did you struggle with that mindset, and did you even, or is that just something that helped you scale your businesses to a certain level?
I want to be very real. It was a massive struggle for me to change my stinking thinking, because when I started, so I got married early at 23 years old. I'm Romanian. I met a Romanian woman and here I'm in Canada, but I met a woman in Michigan. So I'm in Windsor, Ontario. She's in Michigan. We got together. We're from about an hour away from back home in Romania. We moved about an hour away across the world. So when we first got married, I actually went out and I bought, it was a Rich Dad Poor Dad course. And I spent $25,000 US on this program as a Canadian, right? So as a Canadian, by the time I did the exchange rate, it was costing me almost $40,000. I basically jumped into this. I had a vision that I could be successful at it, but I didn't have an understanding of what I needed to do. And I just thought, hey, this Rich Dad thing is going to make me successful. And what I did is I jumped into this. I was gung-ho, like a lot of young people. They just want to get going on something. I maxed out the credit cards, and I bombed it miserably. I didn't hold myself accountable. They didn't hold me accountable. The money basically disappeared. And within a couple months, I was going back to work to find out a way now to pay off this credit card bill. That experience at 23 held me back for 10 years. It literally wasted 10 years of my life, because from that experience, I said, I don't need mentors. They're for lazy people. The program is out there to get me. I developed this kind of oppressive communist mindset that we had back home. I developed it all over again, thinking, everything's a scam. It's for lazy people. I was a big skeptic. And it really wasn't until I hit a massive roadblock in my real estate business, because we were growing and we were buying properties and doing this kind of thing very slowly. But I hit a massive roadblock. So I went seeking for answers. And when I went seeking, I found. So there's this old parable that says that the master presents himself when the student is ready.
Love that.
And it was one of those experiences for me where this guy was there, and I was like, I need help. I don't want to get taken advantage of, but I need help. And I just happened to find a very genuine dude who was willing to help me. And my mind started to shift. So it took a while, but it shifted from a place of scarcity to a place of massive abundance. And when it did, there was no going back. You can't unsee abundance when you've seen it. That's what I realized these days. So that if I was 20 years old starting all over again from scratch, the first thing I would do is find a way to start seeing abundance right away. And the value of a mentorship for me, which up until this point was a cost, right? It was a massive expense that I had to incur. Now I see mentorship as a shortcut. Okay, there actually is. It's like video games, like Super Mario, right? You played Super Mario Kart. Mm-hmm. You can skip levels in life by getting shortcuts. A mentor will help you compress time by basically seeing what you're doing, looking at it through a telescope, because they've already done it, and they can go, you're missing this and this and this and this. Us, we don't do that because we're in the weeds and we just run around in a circle every day. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but my point is I really struggled with this for a long time. It did not come naturally to me. And it took mental conditioning up here to really take my thoughts and my business to the next level. Because whatever I can conceive here, whatever I can believe, I can achieve, right? I love that quote. So that's the way I look at everything these days. It's just a massive focus, massive abundance, and living a purpose-driven life versus just living a life just for the sake of living it. Does that make sense?
100%, man. A lot to unpack there, but I believe that too. Another parable I love is, it's not I'll believe it when I see it. It's I'll see it when I start believing it. So that's exactly when you were just starting that answer, talking about a vision that you saw, which led you to that. And the 10 years may have been necessary. You say you wasted 10 years of your life, but that may have been necessary. I may know the answer here, but tell me a little bit about that process of the apprentice getting ready for the master, and also being able to see that abundance. Like a light switch. Is that something, seeing the abundance, is that something that was like a light switch? You kind of did that motion, so I was picking up that vibe as you did that. But was that something more so compounded, or was it when you got a mentor, you saw the abundance and haven't looked back ever since?
I'll tell you this. For a lot of us, we have a certain characteristic that we don't understand. A lot of us, we live in truth, meaning that you and I, we don't want to BS each other. We want to know, if I want to get a result, I just want the answer. I don't want the drama. I don't want to go through an unnecessary process. I just want the result, right? A lot of us are that way. I'm a person who very much believes in the truth. So if something is out of truth, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to steal people. I don't want to rob people. I don't want to live in falsehood. So for me, as a person of seeking truth, I realized this. I said, if I want to achieve a millionaire status, for example, the truth is I need to learn how to be disciplined with money. I need to learn how to grow my revenue, my income. And the only way to grow my revenue and my income is to grow my mind. So if I truly want to become a millionaire, and the only path, truthfully, to get there is to start with this, then by default, I either was going to develop this, or I was going to not live in truth, or I was going to not pursue becoming a millionaire. So I think you got to really have a massive why and a purpose at the end of the day. The moment that you recognize, I want to become a millionaire, I want to do 50,000, wholesale deals a month. The moment that you want that and you see it, you have to now live in truth and understand that there is an actual logical process to getting there. So when I met Chris, I was seeking that truth. I said, Chris, my business is struggling. I was doing house flipping at the time. So we did a whole bunch of stuff from landlording to mortgages, which we still do. But we got to a point where our local market got so hot that I couldn't source deals any longer, right? And we were flipping probably 30, 40 homes a year. And it was impossible because it was like Phoenix back a few years ago where everybody was there, speculation territory. And in seeking truth, I said, I need to find a better way. And he basically said to me something so pivotal. He says, Ben, in his Southern accent, you don't know what you don't know, right? Hey, Ben, you don't know what you don't know, Ben. And I said, that's right. So at that point, I think it started shifting that he's right. I don't know what I don't know. And the only way I'm going to know what I don't know is I'm either going to experience it myself and go through all the struggles and hardships of trying to learn these lessons, or I'm going to pay somebody to just tell me the truth. So I think that's what it was a slow mental shift. Listen, most of our training that we did, which is funny, it wasn't even real estate related. Most of what I did with Chris was all personal development and mindset. The real estate worked itself out because the mindset was starting to process these questions in the right way. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we get so tactical, and I'm the biggest guilty person in this area. I get so tactical. Give me the how-tos, the how-tos, the how-tos, the how-tos. But we don't develop this. And the reality is your brain is so powerful. You can figure out all the how-tos because your subconscious will do the work while you sleep. But if you don't develop the kind of mindset that allows your reticular activating system to really filter out what you want, then you're always going to be in a negative mindset. So I think that's the first thing is you got to believe it. I want to get to this point. X amount of deals, X amount of cash, X amount of whatever. Then I have to realize that I need to develop this so that I can leverage my time and leverage my resources. OPM, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called OPM, one of the best books I ever read. Everything in life is leverage if you understand it properly, right? So to answer you, it was not a quick, I got mindset. I don't think it works that way. I think it's a process, and we all need to go through it. It's a conditioning. I want to look good. I was 40 pounds heavier a couple of years ago, 40 pounds, right? I had to condition myself, my body, so that I could lose the weight. But before I could condition my body, I had to condition my mind that I needed and wanted to lose that weight. Mm-hmm. I had to make that conscious decision. And then living in truth, what do we know living in truth? Reduce your calories, increase your physical activity, right? And give enough time so that your body can start to change. We look at the side effects. Oh, I lost 5 pounds. That is a side effect of this. You lost 5 pounds up here first. I had to lose 40 pounds in my mind before I could lose it in reality. So it touches on exactly what you just said, is you have to see it in your mind. You got to believe it's possible, because if you got that limiting belief that it's not possible and you have scarcity mindset, you'll never achieve what you want financially, in relationships, in your health, in your wealth. It's just never going to happen until you materialize it up here first.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man.
This is powerful. This is deep. I love that you're going in on this stuff. This is a deep conversation. A lot of people need to really think about.
Mm-hmm. As far as us just having a conversation, man, you're preaching to the choir, but I appreciate that feedback. A couple interesting nuggets just from a mastermind I joined, which I'll link that back to belief. And one of my intentions, goals for the year was joining a non-real estate mastermind, since we have one with our company, InvestorFuse. But a few things there, speaking to your truth and living in your truth. I think it was the book Atomic Habits, which I've talked about on a couple episodes. Are you familiar with that book?
I haven't read it yet, but I'm putting it on my list right now, bro.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of similar with the book that you mentioned, as well as Compound Effect, but it gives a kind of, for lack of a better term, like a clickbait approach to setting goals, which I definitely want to hear. Kind of, we can get tactical in your goal setting and some examples in your real estate business. to keep folks happy here, the tactical fans. But it talks about you should put an emphasis on, I'll say two things from this book that's super powerful in relation to this question we're going through. One, you should put an emphasis on your systems in place instead of a specific goal. So it is good to have that goal. And like I set intentions for the year. I was very organic. I have a list here that I could even pull out. In like November of last year, I just set intentions and goals for the year. But it says you should focus more so on the systems and processes and living those daily. So for that example you just used, you lost 40 pounds. It's good to have that goal to lose 40 pounds, but what you should focus and get happiness and energy from is tracking your calories or being in a caloric deficit, working out every day or whatever your goal is for working out per week, things like that, and harnessing the system. The second thing, which I love that you talked about, is living your truth. That book, Tony Robbins' book, a lot of self-image psychology books talk about identity being the biggest influence for behavior. So for that exact thing, you have to have a belief in different identities in all different areas of your life. And this is one thing I'm working on calibrating towards the end of this quarter and Q4. I want to have completely ironed out different identities that you have. So a different identity for my career, different identity for my role in InvestorFuse, different identity for how you are as a husband, father, whatever it may be. So for that example, your physical body, I want to be like an identity I would have. I want to be like, strong, world-class athlete. And then the tens and thousands of decisions that you make throughout a day funnel through that very first thing first. It's going to come through your identity first, then kind of like, your energy level with sleep, how you are with your family relationships, your friend, how your business is doing, everything like that. So that's kind of like the most important thing, in my opinion, after reading this book I'm starting to believe that the identity leads to your truth and how you act. And you have to have your mind right. If you don't have your mind directed on a belief, and this is something I work on every day, if you don't have your mind directed on a certain belief, identity, have that vision in your head, it's going to be hard, man. It's like friendly fire. For people who don't know that term, it's like when you shoot your own team, in Battlefield or something, you're pretty much living with friendly fire. You have tens and thousands of thoughts every day. If you're having those negative hurting you instead of helping you go forward, you're just living. It's no wonder people can't get off the ground or have success in any area of life if you're friendly firing with your own thoughts.
Let me touch on that for a second, because I love the path you're going down here. This is an amazing rabbit hole, by the way, which you could spend hours on this subject, because I love it. I'm a very tactical person, and for years and years, I'm the guy who goes to a conference, and we all go there for different reasons. Give me the nuts and bolts. Don't give me the rah-rah. Don't give me the hype. Don't give me the stuff. I'm not there to belong. I'm not really there to make friends. I'm there because I want to understand what I don't understand. Again, I'm living the truth. So I want to speak to all the tactical people that are exactly like me, okay? For years and years, I let the tactical side of my brain slow me down. Because this is what we do. We want to see, so not only do we want to believe it's possible, but we want to see a very clear path of how we're going to get there before we ever start taking action. Because God forbid we ever start doing an activity that we can't track the ROI on. Right? That's what we do as very tactical practitioners, and I'm one of them. So for a long time, I held back on doing things. I'm like, I don't see the ROI. I don't see the benefit. I don't see the cost-benefit analysis. I don't see the plan. I want to grow this wholesale business, but I don't exactly know how it's going to work, so I'm not going to take the action. Well, the result is this. That is a conditioning, right? Because you've literally conditioned yourself that you're only going to do things that you know are going to win. But the reality is, I heard Dan Gilbert say this one time, who was the owner and founder of Quicken Loans. My wife works there. She's a high-level person.
Cabs owner too, yeah.
Yeah, and Cavs owner, that's right. I heard him say this thing one time when he was speaking with us in a stadium. And he says, he said, the things that usually produce the highest ROI are the things that you can't quantify. AKA relationships, AKA starting a business that you can't really see the outcome, but you're just doing it for the love of doing it. AKA you're doing something. So what happens to us tactical people is we work far slower than we need to. Instead of just jumping into stuff, ready, fire, aim, right? Approach. I see it, I'm in it. Let's go, right? I see it, I'm in it. As you're doing the thing, you're going to actually develop and understand the tactical side much better than if you're trying to sit back, because there's no way you can really understand the tactical until you get feedback. So if I'm going to be in a wholesale business, first thing I want to do is I'm a wholesaler, right? I'm getting out there, I'm getting contracts, I'm making it happen. The audience, AKA the buyers, will tell me if I'm doing a good job. Hey, you're paying too much, you're not getting enough deals, nobody wants this product, this is not the right piece, your contract's wrong. All these other items which we sit back and try to strategize up front, but the truth is we have no way of knowing until we're in the midst of it. So it's this fear of failure as a tactical driven person, which is me. I don't want to fail. And as
And a
much as
majority, I was going to say, and a majority of folks, maybe not listening to this particular show, but a majority of entrepreneurs, especially like real estate investing entrepreneurs, wholesalers, are kind of like that type A. And I think it's the left brain, which is the more analytical that, is supposed to keep you safe from survival and stuff. So it's very logical and trying to have logistics for every type of thing. So you're speaking to like a majority of the audience here, at least real estate investors.
Yeah, and again, my point is try to understand that about yourself. The moment I did it made a shift in my brain because I was holding myself back. I have mentors, and I've got a couple different ones. Like I belong to a mastermind with the DM family, and it's
Nice.
it's a $50,000 a year commitment to be in that group with Mark Evans and those guys and Tim Bratz and people doing big things, right? So I'm in this group and I'm listening to these guys talk, and okay, so we go back to your original point. Mindset, right? Oh, I don't want to talk about mindset, man. Who cares? Just show me the bolts. Show me the nuts and bolts. Boom, boom, boom. And they're like, you can't see the nuts and bolts because you're not taking enough action to really discover your own questions. Here's the truth. A lot of us are very good at figuring things out. But we need to be thrown into a sticky situation to get ourselves out. So when a guy commits, like a guy, whatever, like Tim, who's got, 3,500 apartment units, right? And he jumps into this business. He's committing to it and figuring it out afterwards. Grant Cardone does the same thing. Chris Rue does the same thing. Mark Evans does the same. These guys are all kind of following the same pursuit. So I guess my point is this. We can go through the tactical line by line, but it's going to get you to a point. Beyond that point, your tactical brain is going to stop you from getting to the next point. So when we talk about goals, my challenge with goals is that a goals for a lot of people is a destination, which means that you're really not able to leverage that mindset and keep getting beyond that goal because you've set it. And it's like that easy cook thing. You set it and forget it, right? Boom, 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 boom. You hit the goal and guess what happens? Without another goal superseding that, you're like, I'm done. I would rather focus on mindset. So if my goal is to lose 30 pounds, I'm not focused on 30 pounds. I'm focused on I need to live a healthy life every day, all day for the rest of my life. And once I can get that into my brain and see that as a mindset tool, I'm going to end up hitting a 30-pound weight loss and then a 35 and then a 40. And then I'm going to be working out the rest of my life. It's really about changing your fundamental mindset so you can change your daily habits. And I think that's the biggest paradigm shift with people is that I'm not goal-driven, I'm purpose-driven. And in seeking a purpose to have an amazing body, it doesn't stop once you get there. You keep going. So maybe your big, amazing body now leverages to other people having amazing bodies, and it turns into a coaching program, and it turns into another business. Now you're selling supplements, and now you've taken one goal and you've turned it into a completely new thing. It's a new reality, right? Does that make sense? So I didn't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but I just wanted to touch on that with you because I love what you brought it up because I think it's very pivotal for us to really understand that it is much different.
No, go down that rabbit hole, brother. That's completely fine with me.
I'll add one last point here. Go ahead. Here's the biggest thing I've realized in personal development is that every level is just another aha moment, right? So a lot of us, we're not being held back because we don't know how to do something. It's because we don't have perspective over the thing that we're doing. So when I get to go out and see a guy's operation, for example, we were just out, actually the DM guys jumped on a private jet, hopped over to Iowa, and we saw one of our guys there, Matt, we saw his operation. Seeing what he's doing and the way that he's structuring his organization and the way he's got his team built up, the way he's got everything, I can come back with that perspective after just being there for a day. And now I can systematically start putting the pieces together because I've seen the end result. We have a lot of us just don't have the clarity of vision. We have an idea of what we want, but we don't really know what that looks like once we've got it. And it's the same with coaching, same with wholesaling, same with every other business. So life is literally one aha moment after another. So my biggest advice to people is get in rooms with people that have exactly what you want. Pay to be. Join a mastermind. You're not there because they're going to teach you tactical, because they probably won't. But you're there to see exactly, gain the perspective of what they're doing and how they're thinking. And that may be the aha moment. So Chris gave me an aha. Mark gave me an aha. Every time I read a book, I get a little aha. So you got to just realize you just don't know what you don't know. And the next level is literally one aha away from turning the ceiling into a floor.
Love that, man. Yeah, I mean, this morning I even paid out of my company paycheck $500, which isn't a lot, obviously, but for a weekend trip to Tampa Bay in about a month, if you happen to be there, it's like a guru event. But man, so many bullet points I want to hit on quickly there. One, I want to give a shout out to Mark Evans. I don't know him. I follow him on Instagram, and I keep a pretty sophisticated journal here, because obviously this episode we're going to be talking about, we're both huge advocates of personal development. And I'm also a huge advocate of self-reflection, which is probably like a bullet pointer under the same umbrella, because it's kind of like a circle that goes through. The more you reflect on yourself and your life and how you kind of operate, you can kind of keep strategically getting those aha moments. Back to my point of Mark Evans, I don't know him, follow him on Instagram. He has some of the amazing just daily content. I need to get your Instagram, by the way. But he has some of the most amazing daily content. I could probably find it if I had the time to. I wasn't spending your valuable time right now. 2 weeks ago, it was about 6 o'clock. I was finishing up work stuff here, and I still had my 30-minute Spanish lesson due for the day, a workout. I usually do laundry with my Spanish, so I do it in the afternoon. Watch the Mark Evans video, literally talking about, are you a magician or a mule in your business, a few other things. And I literally felt in my brain, I was so tired, my 10,000 thought monkey brain was telling myself, oh man, take a nap, you're good, or like just chill, watch TV for the night, whatever. Literally watching that Mark Evans, of course I condition myself every day, and it's been years, kind of like you have personal development, but just watching that social proof of someone just crushing it, doing 2 workouts a day, talking about how automated his business is, it literally gave me like the mental shift for my mind to tell my body to have energy to do my Spanish, go lift at the gym, everything like that.
Well, it's powerful, and we're not here just dropping names. Like, this is real life stuff. When we talk about mentorship, the reason why your audience gets so much value from you on this program is because you're sourcing stuff that we're paying for, right? A lot of us guys, including yourself, we paid a lot of money to be in this position, because you're either going to give your time or give your capital in order to get ahead. There's only 2 ways for you to develop. So these guys just have what works. So let's use it. Let's understand it. Let's try to put it in place. A lot of times when these guys talk, like Mark and Chris and them, and a lot of times I just wasn't ready to hear the information. So Magician and the Mule is a perfect example, right? I'm muling it out every day, all day, boom, 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 bandit sniper, like all the stuff you could think of. And I'm sure a lot of folks are muling it out. Until I really started to conceptualize this whole Magician and the Mule thing. And I realized that, again, living the truth. Ben, how many deals do you want to do? I want to be the largest investor in Canada, period. I need to do X amount of deals. Hundreds and hundreds of deals a year. The only way to do that is to build a team and to leverage my time. I can't do it myself. So in doing that, it's just a different level of mule. But at some point, you start understanding the magician philosophy. And now you're here turning this and turning that, and these things are happening, and these things are happening. And you're right, this concept is so powerful, especially for business owners. Because I know a lot of wholesalers out there, they're a one-man operation. They're solopreneur, right? It's one guy, one operation, some bandit signs, a couple ads and stuff like that. And he's out there, and he's, you can make 5, 10, 20, 50 grand a month being a wholesaler, right? If you know what you're doing and you're confident. But can you make $500,000 a month without a team, without systems, without everything integrated, without top-down management? And I took it to the next level. Actually, if you guys want to start following some people, boom, right here, my man, his name is Judge Graham. And this guy sold the company for many, many, many millions of dollars. And I go to these business kind of events now instead of real estate events, because we don't need more real estate advice. We already know it. We need business advice. We need personal development advice. And this is the kind of stuff that really helps us elevate our game. So, I mean, there's so many points we could go through on this, but I love that you brought up Mark, because I think he's just a good example of somebody who's developed this so much that now it's showing out in his business.
Yeah, that's what I said. And we're kind of leading here. The last few minute discussion that we have has kind of been the answer to the question that I'm asking you right now. But just to kind of reiterate on it, I want to ask, like, what is because this is such a common question that comes up, real estate purpose, because it's the biggest motivator. Sean Terry, everyone that listens to this has listened to Sean Terry or heard of him, one of the biggest wholesaling podcasts. But another thing that influences your behavior and take massive action and be this is knowing your why and knowing your purpose. So I want to know, reiterate again on your purpose. I know you touched on it, what your purpose is, which I know when it's affecting other people, that becomes more powerful. It's something I'm working on myself, trying to bake in my why and my purpose and have it relate not even to me, but more so to other people. And like, why are you building this brand, which I'm saying this kind of an answer, but why are you building this brand? And like, why are we even talking right now? Not to sound harsh, but like, why are you, because we got set up through your booking guide, which I love that. We were talking before we went on air. I love that. But like, why are you doing this right now when you could be either working directly on your business, either magician or muling, or, hanging out with family, doing whatever? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I think it's a powerful question, but it's so vital at the end of the day. So coming from the environment that I came from, the oppression, the scarcity, the lack of resources. I'm actually writing a book on this right now. It's going to be out in 6 days. So I'm gonna send you a copy. If anybody
love that.
Yeah, by the way, if anybody wants any of my stuff, humble.ceo is my website, humble.ceo, or Ben Humble CEO on Instagram. Just check me out. But I'm dropping free stuff, so come get it. I'm happy to chat with you guys. Reach out. So the why and the purpose, like my purpose in life here, right, is really to serve and impact people. At the end of the day, you can't live for yourself. If you do, you're never going to really reach your potential, because at the end of the day, potential is to benefit more than you internally. So my purpose is to impact people in a positive way. My impact is to take what I've gone through, my experiences, and bring one key message. And that's what I believe my purpose in life is. The message is this: it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't mean you have to end there. So I'm a Christian. For me, I'm a God-fearing man. For me, I believe that God put me on this earth to help and serve people. There are so many broken people that just need development. They need this. And once they start getting this, then they'll start getting this. Because it's kind of like living with an open heart. One of my pastors did this one time. He says, hold your hand out like this. This is people's hearts. Nothing can come in, nothing can go out. Now do this. Abundance can flow out, money, resources, and it can also flow back in. So my purpose is to help people live like this. That's why I grow a team. I do this because I love it. I love impacting people. My main media guy, the one that you talked to, okay, he had a baby 3 days ago. He had a baby 3 days ago, and he's here. And this story's pretty powerful. It makes me kind of tear up a bit. But I'm looking through Instagram, and he posted a picture of his baby. I'm like, oh, your baby's so beautiful, everything else, boom, 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 boom. And he names the baby Jack Benjamin Carcamo. He literally gave his son, his middle name is my name. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm honored, but how and why? And he says, I've never met anybody who's impacted me so deeply. And that for me is impact. That for me is purpose. That's the stuff we're here on earth to do, is to help other people develop, because there's no fun in making money by yourself. So I think if you live with that sense of deep commitment and resolve to helping people, all the other pieces will align, right? I've got a huge family back home, so I got a massive why, right? Like I come from a place where we had to escape that. And my whole belief system is that if I come here and sit on welfare and do nothing with what I've been given, send me back and send another one. Do you know how many people would kill to just be here? My wife's family won the American visa lottery in Romania. This was a real thing. The only reason they're in the United States is because they won the lottery. Like, that's what it means to become an American or a Canadian to other countries. It's the lottery, man. You guys have all won it. You're already here. So I have such a drive to grow, to inspire, to motivate. Like, I don't understand how to live without that. That's why I'm so energetic all the time. That's why I'm on this, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. That's just how I am all the time. It's not hype. That's just me. Because I think life is so short, and we only have a moment to capture as much impact as possible and help as many people as possible, right? And that to me is legacy. Legacy isn't money. Legacy isn't a checkbook. Legacy is people like Billy Graham who go out and impact millions of people. And I think each of us is called to have a legacy. The only question is, will you recognize it and take the action to make it happen or not, right? So that to me is my drive. It's not the money, man, because here's the thing. I've got this saying, right? Everybody should become a millionaire. Everybody has to. Your entire audience has to become a millionaire. I'll tell you why. Not because of what they're going to do with the money, but because of the kind of person you have to develop into discipline, self-sacrifice, motivation to achieve that goal. That is way more valuable than the money you're going to have in your hand, is the person that you become. I heard Ed Mylett say this thing at 10X, and he says that I want to double in efficiency and effectiveness. I want to double as a man every year, so that when I look out in the future and I see myself at 60, I can't even comprehend how great that man is going to be, because he's doubled so many times. And I think about so many of us, like we get to 17 years old and we never grow. We're 17 for the rest of our lives. Our mindset doesn't grow, our development, our relationships, our health, our wealth. Like, we're basically just there. We're stuck in a rut. Now, it's not really your audience, because your audience wants more out of life. That's why they're seeking. But I just think it really starts with having that massive why. And I know everybody that come on your show has that why. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pushing. It's too hard to push when it's just for you. When you live a self-serving lifestyle and you just want to cover your basic needs, you will never push beyond the norm because there's no reason to. It's too hard. What we do is too hard as entrepreneurs. It's too hard on our brain, right? We develop high cholesterol and blood pressure and stress. We develop these real ailments and these real issues.
Yeah.
We put a lot of stress on our bodies. And nobody in their right mind would put undue stress on their body unless there was a bigger reason. So if I've got a child and that kid needs to eat, I'm going to get a second job and a third job and a fourth job. If it's just for me, I might just eat ramen noodles and call it a day. So I think find something out there that you can believe in that's bigger than yourself, bigger than your ego, bigger than your ambitions, bigger than your goals. And that item will drive you to do things that are incredible. It really will. And then you'll look back and people say, dude, how did you do it? And your answer is going to be, I didn't. I was just willing to pursue something greater than me. And that took me down a path of doing remarkable things, working 20 hours a day, building teams, building a legacy. And that's why I did it, was to serve these people. So for me, it's like I'm repping a whole country of people that live, that live basically still in poverty. And not just physical poverty, but mental, massive poverty. And how do I go back and impact those folks? The reason I love the DM family is we actually had, for Mark's birthday, we all got together for this event. And we had this guy come from Caring House Project, which is a mission started by Frank McKinney out in Haiti that builds these spec homes for these families and children. It's about $4,000 a home. And this guy came, his name is Doug Dobler, and he comes to the event, and he wanted to raise $9,000 to build a well or water filtration, whatever, over there for one of the villages. And Mark's like, no, we're not gonna let you walk away with $9,000. Mark's like, we're gonna have to raise at least $100,000 tonight. This was his birthday bash. So for his birthday, we had a local artist come in, and he started, he had all his paintings that he'd done, and he auctioned them off. And halfway through the auction, we were ramping it up, and I felt this tug on my shoulder because I do emceeing for events. So I had an MC for the last 2 days for that event, right? And I felt this tug on my shoulder, like the Lord said, you got to get up there. So I walk up to literally the stage to the guy who was doing the auctioning. I said, can I please borrow this microphone? And that was the most clearly defined moment of purpose that I've ever had. And I stepped up there, and it was just like, dude, I'm like crying. I'm up there just, if we can't rally around these people, who's going to do it? If we can't help the helpless, who's going to do it? Are we not the hands and feet of Christ? Like, who's going to do this stuff? And that was just my conviction. And it wasn't me. Like, there's 150 amazing people in that room. And I don't want to take the credit for this. I just felt the conviction to go up and grab the microphone. Let's do something. And the men and women in that group, which was amazing, we raised $151,000 in 40 minutes. Amazing, man. And Mark looks over, because of the kind of person he is, like, how much is it to build a whole village? Doug's like, about 200. It's like, we'll make a way. We'll make it possible. So it's like this one little thing, like, you come to my office and I've got a painting on the wall, right? Because when I'm auctioning the piece, I got so emotional. And I'm like, I'll buy it myself. And I did. I bought the painting that I was auctioning. I got a $17,000 painting in the office.
Love that.
But that built 4 homes, and they sent me a video. If you go to my Facebook page, you can check it out. A video of the kids with uniforms and going on the bus. And like, dude, that is the stuff that pushes me every day, because we as investors, we can focus on this. We can leverage our resources, and I can work for an hour and make, as a wholesaler, $20,000. And you can take that $20,000 and reinvest it and create $100,000 worth of value. And your $100,000 in a third world country is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars to those people. The actions of one man can impact the many. The question is, are we willing to do that stuff? Because it's hard. But when you really think about it, it's a massive duty, massive responsibility. If I told you could work an hour and you basically put this kid through school for 18 years, do you not feel a massive sense of duty to do it? We don't look at it that way. So here's my point. You guys need to start reverse engineering your impact and what you can do in the world. Reverse engineer what you can do. Because if you got the ability to make $100,000 and you only need 50 for yourself, then take the other 50 and go impact somebody. That 50 will stretch so much further than for you and your car payment and your bills. So, I mean, I love this stuff. I don't want to get too far on. I know it's not really the topic of the show, but
no, man. No need to.
love this topic so much.
Same, man. No need to apologize or switch up the message, man. Keep it rolling. But beautifully and powerfully said there, man. I couldn't agree more. So I'm hearing kind of like your purpose can kind of be a little bit more general, because I think that's something that people struggle with, even myself to a certain extent, of like people think they need to have one specific thing, like, oh, I need to be able to have my why is to build schools in Africa to do this, which is kind of your point of building schools. That's one little way, but I think it can be kind of, general in a sense. And as a quick side note, guys, not to this specifically, but I think the real estate investing space, I've been in the wholesaling space since I graduated college. I've been in the last 6 years or so. It's surprising and awesome how many real estate investors are into personal development, which is kind of, I guess I did it before I was in real estate investing, started before I was in real estate investing. But it's surprising and awesome how many real estate investors are into personal development. And it's surprising and awesome how, for the most part, how receptive these people like Ben that are super successful in your business, which I promise guys we're going to talk about soon here, but how super successful they are in their business and quality of life, which is really the whole point of life, is to be happy and enjoy the qualitative moments there. How receptive they are to helping you out. Some may answer you, but same thing. If you're going to cold call, if your team is going to cold call 200 sellers a day, you can reach out to 10 people that could potentially mentor you or help you out with advice. You'd be surprised how many people will help you out. I've done that myself, and not that I'm this high grand guy. We have a successful company in the space, but some people reach out to me via company or my personal page, and each person I try to have time to help them out any way that I can. I'm not like Ben where I have, $1 million in fees and all this stuff going on, like he's been going through, but you'd be surprised to do that. One point I want to hit on too, still in the same mindset, you being an immigrant, you have a super interesting mindset that we've been grazing on here in this conversation. And I am also a believer. This is like a famous, like for people like my age, I'm like 29, but people have seen like a Jay-Z interview where he talks about how he believes everybody has their unique like purpose in life, or for lack of a better term, like their own creative genius, which I completely believe that. I think each single person, and it has to be true to a certain extent, because no two people have the same experiences and same programming just through everything they've perceived in their life. But I think it's really like a battle or a challenge obstacle to be able to align your mind, like condition towards abundance, to be able to get that creative genius. So one why or one purpose I think that you may be interested in is almost like if you could implant kind of like an immigrant type mindset, where I love how you said that. I say the same thing, where you really won the lottery if you're even a human, like Gary Vee says, or if you're in, US, Canada, a thriving, abundant country. So I love people, I love entrepreneurs and people that are trying to change the way that school systems are done, where they teach this type of stuff in elementary school, and obviously I've medical people in my family, doctors, pharmacists, stuff like that. I'm definitely a huge proponent of school for specialized stuff, but I feel like the whole education system could be revamped, which teaches, taxes, financial literacy, even this type of stuff, communication, more so just going through life. So I like that two-prong approach. I don't know if it's necessarily my why, but I'm a huge advocate of people that support that movement of revamping the education system. And then also somewhat, just because, you have the immigrant mindset, of putting that immigrant mindset of gratitude in the entire country. Because to the masses, we're lucky. We talk to real estate investors every day or entrepreneurs every day. A lot of them do personal development and have abundant mindset. But I feel like a lot of masses in both of our, areas, Canada and the United States, a lot of the masses don't have that mindset.
Yeah, so let me touch on it real quick. I want to touch on the question you were alluding to a little bit earlier about not having a specific purpose so that you don't know what you're doing. That is exactly what I referred to in the tactical framework. Everybody wants to see their purpose in order for them to do something about it.
Exactly.
You don't need to be tactical about your purpose. It's purpose. It's greater than you. So my point is just take action, get around people, level up your connections. And I didn't plan on getting to this event, raising 150 grand and buying a painting, right? I didn't plan on this stuff. It wasn't part of my tactical purpose, but it was part of my overall arching purpose, which is to just be available. And that's why these guys like Mark, if you reach out, like right now, he'll say, hey, what's up? Is because we're always available to grow. We're always available to connect. We're always available to reach out. That's what makes us who we are. But that's what got us to this point. So nobody that got to this point that I know that's a self-made ever got to this point by neglecting people, by neglecting conversation, by neglecting opportunity. It didn't happen. They were proponents of taking that extra step, right? Massive customer service, massive relationship skills, massive, like this is the stuff that got us here. So that's when you reach out to a guy, Just don't waste his time. You have to understand that that guy got there because he's efficient in those communications. He's not hanging around at the bar all day having drinks with his buddies. So don't approach it that way, right? But that guy is a guy who understands the value of giving and the value of reciprocity, right? So to touch on that point. On your second point, to say, like, how do we instill that mindset in people? I love what you're talking about on the education piece, by the way. I'm fully aligned with you on that piece. I think we do need it more. Here's where I'm going to disagree slightly, not to your theory, but to the whole economy as a whole here. The people who want it will seek it.
That's true.
The people who are spoon-fed will never appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see a radical difference if we go into school systems and we spoon-feed people Kiyosaki books, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad instead of Cat in the Hat. You know, you spoon-feed people this stuff from day one, it is no guarantee that their life will be any different. The one value I can say about the entrepreneur mindset and the people who are immigrant mindset is that they are seeking because they want more. You first have to want more in life, man. Like, you got to come into this life and say, I want to do better than where I was. Again, my messaging, you started here, you can end up here. You can be a Jeff Bezos, you can be anybody, man. But you have to desire that. If you don't desire it, if it's not in your heart, no amount of information is going to help you. I'm reading the book, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Hardy, right? I just read that book. It's amazing. I just finished it. And he said that knowledge is useless. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just knowledge. Just because you have it doesn't mean you're going to do anything with it. That's what Darren Hardy's talking about. He said it's the application of that knowledge. So a lot of times we go seeking for all this new knowledge. We read 50 books a year. He's like, don't read 50 books a year. Read the same 5 books 10 times. Go deep, right? Like, for us, the riches are in the niches. And it's true with education too. You don't need 50 mentors, guys. You need one mentor. One mentor who understands you, that you can align your values and your morals with, and that you can just go super deep on one mentor. So I've got 2-3 mentors, actually. I don't need 50. That's it. I'm just going deep with the guys that I have. I'm going to buy as much of their time as possible. And so we get to the point where now I need another person to take my business to another level and take my mindset to another level, right? So I think the answer is clear. You need to have the desire. And if you have that desire, then you need to go seeking. So live in truth, have the desire, go seeking. The people are out there. And then don't be afraid to reach out. Like, we're all humans. Are you going to get the dickhead who's like, I don't want to talk to you, you're below me? Of course you will. I call it the middle manager mindset, right? He reached middle manager, he's got the company car, he's got this. And that happens in the entrepreneurial world too. The guy who's never really going to make it huge, but he got to a point of success where now his arrogance overrides his decisions. Because when you're growing, you have no time for ego, because ego will literally slow you down. You have to live in the abundant connectivity mindset. Who am I talking to? Who am I reaching to? GC says, who's got my money? If you're about a who's got my money, guess what you're doing? You're connecting all day, every day. It's the guy who gets to, like, I made a mill because the market rocked up. I made a mill and now I'm chilling on a beach. Don't bother me, I'm above you. You don't want to learn from that dude. That's not a mentor, you know? But those people exist. So here's what you do. If you can't find a mentor, reach to the top guy you can. Reach to GC, send him a message, hey bro, you know? And people will actually hold you accountable. Quick story, I actually sent GC an email about 4 years ago when I first found out who this cat was. I was literally bored one Sunday. You know, I won't tell you where I was at, but it was family related. I'm sitting on the couch, they're talking about whatever, you know, traditional household stuff. And, you know, I'm like searching, I find GC, right? I'm like, dude, this
Grant Cardone, for anybody listening, I'm assuming. No, yeah, you're good.
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone. Okay, cool.
I just assume all the entrepreneurs know who GC is. Yeah. So I find Grant Cardone. I buy the book 10X Rule. And up to that point, my wife and I were super frugal, we're tactical, we're saving money. We're like, we're gonna make $5 million in our life. That was our strategy, right? I read 10X and I'm like, man, I'm going for 50. I'm going for 100. Forget this 5 million business, right? And I get all bold, right? I get all encouraged. I write Grant Cardone an email. Hey Grant, I read your book, amazing, totally changed my mindset, boom, boom, boom. Thank you so much. God bless you. This is my story. Da-da-da. You know what he does? He posted on his Facebook page.
Oh, damn.
Yep. I was pissed, annoyed, upset. I was like, dude, it was private. It was this. And then I realized exactly what he did. He made me accountable for that goal by making it public to the world. And I was like, wow. So from that moment on, when I finally, because I have 2 choices, fear or faith. I can be afraid of the whole world knowing my business because I'm a very was a very private guy up until a couple years ago, and I realized the abundance you have to get out of yourself. Or I can just live in faith and go shoot for 50 million or $100 million. That's the only option I have. So I'm shooting for the 50, 100, man. I'm going all the way in. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Humble CEO, rap songs, events, like all this stuff, starting companies because I'm shooting for the big money. I met Grant actually for the first time a few weeks ago with Chris at Impact Players Tour. And, I walk up and I shake his hand and I'm talking. I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, you know, in typical Grant fashion, I'm like, yo, bro, you know, I sent you an email 3 years ago, man. I was going to make 5 and then go to 50. He said, you put me on blast, man. I said, you put me on blast. He looks at me, he's like, dude, call me when you get to 50. That's all he said. And I'm like, amazing. So my point is, if you just reach out to people, I hope that story can encourage you guys. Like, just reach out. Reach out and ask, because you never know. You might have to pay to play. Hey, I got a mastermind, come join it. Like I got people, I've got this company called Lead Ninja, which you see back here. This is for brand new wholesalers in Canada that don't know where to start. Or people a couple deals and they want to grow. It's basically, it's part of our company. It's not a coaching business, but we do a lot of coaching, mentorship, helping people. We're basically just trying to take what we know and help people get started in wholesaling in Canada, give them an opportunity, and then JV with them, right? It's a JV kind of firm. My point is, people reach out all the time on IG. Hey, man, I got 1,000 questions. Bro, join the company. It's a few $100, join the company. I don't have a few $100. Great. Then it's a filter. You don't have a few $100, you just don't want to pay anything. It will always cost you something to get around proximity to power. So if I want to get around GC, I got to buy a top ticket for impact players. If I want to get around Chris Root, I got to buy his time via mentorship program. If I want to get into Mark Evans, I got to go and sell a house, you know, and not buy a new car and pay to be in that group. So my point, guys, is it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you a pound of flesh. You got to be willing to pay the price, though, to sit at the table. So
great nuggets, man. No, great nuggets. I feel like every time you give an answer here, there's someone that a different listener can probably take and run with, you know, and impact them. Kind of even like, and I like using kind of small daily examples, guys, because we spend so much time in the day-to-day. You should be, you know, working on your business. But like that example I had with Mark, like just something small that I noted in my journal, I was like, wow, literally that little shift, watching him talking about that, like gave me energy to actually have like a productive, you know, 6 to 10 o'clock at night instead of just chilling and watching, you know, Netflix or, you know, reading whatever. But same thing we've done here.
The same way. I love you're saying that because we all inspire each other the same way. Inside of the group, we started a 30-day burpee challenge, burpee push-ups, right? So Mark's doing 2 a days and doing burpee push-ups, man. Do you think me, I'm like, dude, I have to do these burpee push-ups. Like, there's no way I'm not going to do them if Mark's doing them. So I start doing burpee push-ups. 2 weeks into the burpee push-ups, I go, you know what? I've got 40, 50 people inside of this company right now. Why are they not doing burpee push-ups? I moved the burpee challenge into this company.
Love that.
This company doing burpee. And I got all these little groups of people, from one guy doing burpee push-ups to all these hundreds of people now in different groups doing burpee push-ups. So it's like, that's the power of impact. You see Mark's little wakey or his thing or whatever, and you're like, man, I got to go and do some stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's the calling we have, is to make that kind of impactful action in our lives and get other people working and growing. And that's why I came on the show. For you guys that are really tactical, this is a very tactical show. You just don't realize it, because I'm giving you piece after piece after piece. If you just implement these 5, 6 things that we've touched on into your life, and you add the compounding effect and go back 5 years from now, these things will make a massive difference for you guys. For those of you that are extremely tactical, you just got to implement them and do them every day without stop, without failure.
1,000%, man. Appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, anybody who's listening to this show, obviously appreciate that fully with all my heart, but you are doing part of the process as far as getting this type of stuff in your ears, you know, on a daily or somewhat consistent basis to learn the tactical stuff, stay inspired. Accountability is huge. And also, you know, the psychological term, social proof. Like that's one of the biggest things for me, like helping build belief, which I really think at the end of the day, it's all about belief, which you say and agree with, which I love that. But social proof, like seeing something, you know, seeing Mark do something for you gives you the proof. It's almost like your lizard brain, like your very dumb brain that's been around thousands of years. You're like, oh, I can see this person do it. Your brain is almost internalizing, I can do this too. So that's huge. But I do want to talk a little bit, dude, let's talk about what you're doing.
Real
go ahead.
Seconds. For those of you guys that don't know this story, there's a story of the 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister. Google.
Roger Bannister, yep.
That's exactly what he's talking about here, because nobody could run a mile under 4 minutes, right? Like for hundreds of years, it just wasn't possible, and nobody thought it was possible. A high school teacher practice every day, all day, every day, all day. Back in 19, I want to say 54 or something like that. Every day, all day, this guy's running. Eventually, Roger Bannister breaks the 4-minute mile. He runs it in like 3 minutes 59 in like 60 seconds, right? That became like the 4-minute mile effect. As soon as you see that somebody else can do it, now you can do it. And slowly, more people started breaking it, and today, high school athletes, high school athletes can break the 4-minute mile. So all it takes is you seeing that somebody else can do it, because our human brain is very competitive, and it says, I can do that. That's not that hard. You know, Chris says that all the time. He's like, man, it ain't that hard, man. You just got to do it, man. Look at GC do it, man. You can do that, man. Like, you just got to you got to find somebody and find your Roger Bannister. So that's what the power of the mastermind is, and that's what the power of mentors are. Like, that's my Roger Bannister. I got to beat this cat. That's why I love what you're talking about, man, because guys, like, you got to look at Carlos and be like, hey, Carlos is doing so much stuff. He's kicking ass. He's doing this. He's got the podcast. Guys, make this guy your Roger Bannister. Follow him. Look what he's doing out. He's reaching out and having conversations with people that most people like will never have access to, right? You guys want to talk to Max Maxwell? Dude, you talk to Max Maxwell, right? What do you got to do? You got to create an environment where you're providing value. So reach out and be like him. Seriously. That's why I commend you for what you're doing, because not everybody's going to take the level of action that you're taking to get the result. They're just going to sit back and be like, must be nice to know this guy. Must be nice to know that guy, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and that's a great example that obviously is a universal principle for whatever you're trying to achieve. The Roger Bannister, where like 4 or 5 people did it the next year, and now it's almost like a standard for peak performance. But dude, this has been an awesome rabbit hole I wasn't necessarily expecting, but this is oftentimes the best interviews where we go super qualitative, which, like I said, best interviews, and also, you know, where you get the most enjoyment, fulfillment, success in your life, those qualitative moments. I want to kind of get a quick snapshot, though, Ben, on what you're doing currently in Canada, and kind of why and how you got into wholesaling, to give kind of a people, because I kind of saw this on other stuff you got going out. So I promise, guys, of course, he is the man. If you've been listening thus far, this is maybe going to be your favorite episode, and Ben is the absolute man. But I do want to give a snapshot, because I promise he's a super successful entrepreneur as well. So let's go ahead, deep dive on what you're doing wholesaling now, why you got into there. And then I'd kind of love a quick snapshot too, because I didn't even know about the Lead Ninja thing, which is also kind of like a vessel for your whole framework of how you work, of being able to drip and hit, you know, hundreds, thousands of people that you're impacting instead of just yourself, and, you know, getting revenue for your wholesaler, your investing company.
Cool. Yeah, so let's talk business for a minute. So on the wholesaling side, the reason we started doing this, just for you Canadians out there, is the market got so hot in Canada, which you guys know. The MLS dries up. There's a lot of buyers, a lot of speculation, a lot of overseas buyers from Asia, China specifically, coming here and parking their cash. They're fighting inflation, right? So they park the capital, they're overpaying, there's no deals anywhere. And my market of Windsor, Ontario right now is if not the hottest, the second hottest market basically here in this whole region of Ontario, which encompasses the majority of the Canadian population, right? So it's the hottest of the hot. So I had to find a better way. So first thing is I go to see Chris. Chris is like, you need to learn how to wholesale, buy direct from seller, which I never thought about that. And I was always buying on the MLS, 50, 60, 70 deals, whatever. So I start marketing direct to sellers, start getting leads, start processing this. There was really only 2 or 3 people in the office doing this, because we had a renovation business. We were mostly buying these properties, doing massive rehabs, and going from there. Once I learned about wholesaling is all about speed, folks. Actually, all business is about speed. The shorter time you can collapse between the sales cycles, the more money you're going to make. So instead of buying a house, doing a rehab, and doing all this stuff, if you can get a contract, sell a contract, and shorten that cycle, you'll make more money. You'll make more money because of efficiency and speed. Even though you might make 30 grand on a flip and you only make 5,000 on flipping a contract, that's a highly repeatable process that is highly scalable. This has a lot of dynamic, a lot of employees, a lot of capital issues and problems that really slows you down or tapers your growth. So we were doing about 30 flips a year, right? 35 flips, whatever, per year. And it was a challenge. So in the wholesale side, as soon as we clicked in with Chris, again, we talked about this stuff 90% of the time. It wasn't real estate. But I went back to Canada. We've got this governing body called RECO in Ontario, which is the Real Estate Council of Ontario. A lot of you agents will know this. Well, RECO oversees all real estate transactions. Kind of how you guys have the Dodd-Frank regulations over mortgages in the United States. It's kind of a similar thing. Like they're always looking. Canada is a very monopoly driven in the real estate space, even though we're a socialist economy, meaning that everybody sells with an agent. Majority of deals go through a realtor. The realtor agents, they spend a lot of money in making sure that people, stay within this mindset.
They're conditioned. The same principle.
Very much conditioned. You see these ads on TV, like should have bought with a realtor, and you got this like rock band next door. In Ontario, everything goes through a lawyer, people. Everything. Okay, it's kind of like how you have attorney states versus title states in the U.S. You have to close through an attorney in Canada, which means you already have a fiduciary, you already have a representative protecting your interests. If you buy and sell through an agent, now you have two people. You're paying this middleman unnecessarily. That's all it is. So as a wholesaler, our job is to remove the cost and remove all these extra fees and hurdles. So the first year in business, we did about $750,000 in wholesale fees. That's from February to December. Because as soon as I caught the model, I started marketing direct to seller, doing mailers, doing flyers. We have Kijiji over here, which is your version of Craigslist in the United States. Our Kijiji is much better than your Craigslist. Very comprehensive. It's the largest online platform in Canada for anything secondhand. And it's a massive company. So we were marketing on Kijiji. We were trying to find sellers, trying to find cash buyers. Same stuff a lot of entry-level wholesalers do. We go to the events, we start networking, we grow a buyer's list, a seller's list, and we start putting the operations together. So what I basically did was I took my flipping business, so I took my team there. We had about 5 or 6 people at the time. We closed down the rehab arm, at that time, because we had a couple of guys actually leave, because when the grass is green on the other side, when the market's going up, these rehab guys that are working by the hour think they can make more money flipping houses. So what we did was we took 3 or 4 people and we took our flipping business and turned it into a wholesale business. I then took the guys that left and made them my first cash buyers.
Nice.
So we started sourcing the deals here in the office, and all the guys that had left and other people that we knew, we basically had a model where we would go and find contractors and we would say, hey, why don't you flip houses? So we promoted the house flipping business. So instead of looking for cash buyers, we just started creating our own cash buyers list.
Kind of like a little incubator for the dispo side.
You got it. So I wanted to be a one-stop shop for everything. So what we did is we created this piece where we were wholesaling the deals. We had our own cash buyers because we have a mortgage business here. So we're actually the largest private mortgage lender in Windsor. We started also offering in-house financing on the back end. So vendor take-back mortgages on the wholesale deals for the contractors that we converted into flippers. So we created that one-stop shop experience. So what we did was we really insulated our whole business because we controlled every moving component. So instead of having to worry about cash buyers and all this other stuff, we just kind of created our own. Now back to the legality point. In Ontario, if you put a deal under contract, and here's the biggest problem. There's a law regarding trading in real estate through the REBA 2002 code. And trading in real estate is a very broad, gray area, non-defined law. There's no precedent. There's no case study. Nobody's ever really been convicted of anything in that space as a wholesaler. So the problem is that gray area is the biggest impediment for people getting into wholesaling because they don't understand where the gray area is and where the black hard line is at, right? So this was always been my advice to people. If you want to wholesale in Canada, then reverse engineer the wholesale process, have the cash and the intention and the ability to close every transaction. If you do, then you are the buyer and you're not a broker. Because it's kind of left to interpretation, right? So every deal that I put under contract that I want to close, I'll just go raise the capital. I'll have the intention, the ability to close the deal. And I won't put a deal under contract that's not a good deal. It actually forces me to get better quality deals. So we don't deal with $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 spreads like some of the wholesale guys in the States do. Last year, our average spread was $17,000. This year, we do a lot of double closes. This year, it's between $34,000 and $39,000 a deal.
Nice.
So, but again, we're more aggressive in making sure that we get the right price, raising the capital. So it requires a more robust operation in my view. Now, can you as a Canadian wholesaler go and get something under contract with no cash, no experience, and try to flip that contract? Sure you can. And if you do 1 or 2 or 3, you're probably not going to have any issues until you screw somebody over or you don't close on a seller and that guy decides to go and make a ruckus. Or until an agent finds out you're buying without him, gets jealous and calls Rico. So at this point, we've actually been very aggressive with this approach. So my lawyer is excellent. So we actually reached out. Hey, Rico, where's the hard line? Boom. Where's my hard line? Tell me what I got to do. I don't want to go over it, so be very clear. So here's the point, folks. You have to be the buyer. So you have to just understand what's the definition of being the buyer. You have to have contractual rights, that agreement. In the U.S., you guys kind of blur this a lot, right? Because you might not even have a good contract. You guys are daisy chaining some, not you, I'm just saying other people are daisy chaining deals. Is that a common term here on your show?
Not on the show, but people will know daisy chain, just forwarding other people's deals, and sometimes they'll even add on their own fee to it. Yeah.
There you go.
Everybody knows that term.
So my point is over here is just, here's what you can do as a wholesaler, right? You can do two things in Canada. Find a guy like me with cash, and then have the cash partner, have the JV partner, which is what this company does. Have me on the sidelines and say, hey, I found a deal. Let's put it under contract. Because then if you have to close or something happens, I'm there with you. We're going in on the deal together, right? That is the safest way to be a wholesaler. Can you do it without cash or without intention? You're in the gray area, and I'm not going to advocate for that, right? Our challenge is I'm doing more deals than anybody else. Everybody else is behind the scenes. I got so aggressive with wholesale, like I wrote a whole rap song and developed this character called the Humble Wholesaler. If you go on my YouTube page, you'll see I got a whole rap video. I am the humble wholesaler. I get the deals done. But just wholesaler. I'm grinding every day. Goes in and getting paid. I always stay humble, helping sellers every day. Right? So
love that.
But I'm super bold. So for me, I'm just defining that line. So now these days we're doing about we're averaging between 150 to 200 grand a month in deal flow. That includes some flipping and includes some double closes. The market's so hot over here. One of the strategies I really like for you tactical guys is a lot of the US guys build out a massive disposition side of their business because they need the wholesale. They don't have a buyer's problem or a disposition problem. They have a cash problem. Because if you can take your deals down, you don't need a disposition arm in your business. So I raised enough capital internally where I basically have an in-house agent that we hired. He works in the office every day. He'll actually dispo our properties back on the MLS because there's no greater source of cash buyers in the MLS.
As Max Maxwell would say, yeah, like wholetailing it or even just taking it down yourself and listing it. Biggest cash buyers.
So that's what I like to do now. If your market is very hot and it looks like the trend is going to remain. So our market is super hot. Everything sells in 1 or 2 days. Most of our MLS deals go over asking by 20, 30, 40%. So it's pretty intense. So that's what I do now on the dispo side. So my whole business is acquisitions, right? Getting those deals under contract, having the capital. I have a liquidity calendar. So I basically raise all this money. Now I've got a calendar all the way out from now until next year. And if I book a deal for September 15th, I'll go raise the capital, book that deal for September 15th, lock that in, send it to the lawyers. Now that deal is firm. So I'm always raising cash all the time. The biggest advice I could give you, Canadian wholesalers or any wholesalers, is dig the well before you're thirsty. For cash, for deal flow, for buyers, for all parts of this business. This is one of the only kind of businesses that has 2 sales cycles. You have a front end and a back end sales cycle, right? And then you've got ops in the middle. Unlike every other business, which like manufacturing, you'll source it from some supplier and then you have one sales process on the back end. You make money on the buy and on the sell. So if you can become a very good acquisitions person or have somebody in your team, then you can make 20, 30, 40 grand of equity like that. On the back end, if your expected profit is 30 and you've got a great dispo guy and he can get you 40, well, now you're making, right? So you're using all these inconsistencies. This is one of the greatest arbitrage businesses you can be in if you understand it, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
When I first started like years ago, I used to start trading stocks and options, and I got a certificate of spread trading and adjustment because I love the idea of arbitraging options in stock market. But then I realized that I have no control in that world. I have no strategic advantage. And frankly, it wasn't my unique ability. In real estate, though, it pays to have the inside scoop, right? So if you can develop a strategic advantage, what we call a USP in business, a unique selling proposition, have something that differentiates you from every other competitor. If you're a wholesaler and you're becoming a Me Too business, meaning that you're copying the next guy, you're going to fail. Because the next guy is only a couple of days away or a month or a year from failing because he doesn't understand what he's doing because he's Me Tooing from the next guy, right? Just like the guys in the States with the RVM. I think RVM is beautiful, but it's probably going to be gone sooner than it's going to stay around because of all the legislature and the laws and the people that abuse the system, right? Look at Illinois. Now they got all this wholesaling law where you can't, right? Am I right?
Yeah, so, you get to be a licensed agent to wholesale.
There you go. So the more people that abuse the system, the more we're going to go down this chain of probable issues. Here's what you can do. Be a thought leader, be on the forefront. Every business I do, I am faster than you. I promise you. I started Lead Ninja from thought to inception was 24 hours. Boom, we're done. Because I'm always solving problems. You know, I thought, how do we help people in Canada who don't have cash, don't have experience, and don't have credit to go out and lock up wholesale deals? How do we keep people ethical in doing wholesale deals? Say, whoa. What if we just actually created a bird dogging firm where they could go out and start conversations, learn guerrilla tactics that will show them how to do. They could go find deals. They can plug it into my Podio system. We'll do all the work. We'll buy the deal. We'll close the deal. We'll sell the deal and then pay you a fee. $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 per conversion. So that's what this company is. The benefit of this is a massive filter because in everything in life you have an 80-20 rule, right? 80% of people won't do, 20% will produce all the results. So even in Lead Ninja, there is a 20%, of like the top producers. Well, I'm looking at those guys thinking, how do we develop your market? How do I develop your business? So right now we're really growing in different markets. We're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 markets right now here in Southwestern Ontario. We're going to be dominating Southwestern Ontario through our individual advanced Lead Ninjas. So this is really the program that will enable the catalyst for you to like have access to capital, training, support, and experience, which is the biggest thing, is experience in doing these deals. Mm-hmm. So that's why I created it, just to create a massive value prop for people that want to get in this business, that watch guys like Tai Lopez online and like they buy his course. The problem is they come to Canada like, this doesn't make sense. I can't do this. So it's people are scared, and to an extent they have a right to be scared over here. But if you know what you're doing and you've got the right language, you use the right disclosure, and you've got capital accessible to you, do wholesale deals all day, every day. One of the best wholesalers I know is actually his wife's an attorney, and they're up in the GTA area. And he's like, dude, my wife's an attorney. Like, we know what we're doing. But people don't have specialized knowledge in that area. So it's more of a legality over here. It's a contractual legality than it is an activity to just go out and get contracts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's kind of a synopsis of the pros and cons on the Canadian market side. And you can grow a business. You guys can do fairly well. Like, we'll do over $2 million this year in deals. And, we've got a whole operation. We've got 11 people staffing in the office right now, plus offsite, plus all these people. So, we run like a true business, operating at 30 to 40% net margin, right? But as a wholesaler, if you're a one-off guy and you want to run your own op, you can be a 60, 70% margin. Because really it's marketing and sales. That's what wholesaling is. It's nothing beyond that. But here's the biggest thing. I'm going to give you a massive nugget. If you don't want to spend money, don't be a wholesaler, because you'll never scale. Here's the trick with wholesaling. You spend $1,000, you made $2, and you can get a 2-to-1 return on market spend. Go spend 2 and go to 4. You have to spend money. Because here's the reality. I got guys I meet at events and stuff. They're like, hey man, I'm spending $500 a month. I say, cool, are you making money? Yeah, I'm making 30 grand a month. So why don't you spend more? I learned this from Mark. Oh, but I'm like, do you want to do more business? Do you want to get to 100 grand a month? Then you got to spend more money on marketing. You got to open more conversations. And there's a team and there's other elements. So the reason why we dominate markets is because we'll outspend you. In my local market, we've got billboards, benches, bus ads, flyers. We do about 250,000 flyers a month. PPC, SEO, Facebook, Google. What are we doing? We got a referral program. We got the Ninja program. Like, I'm spending, guys. So if you're not spending, you're not going to get there. So every new market we want to enter, right? Like we're probably between 70 and 100 grand a month right now in marketing spend to be in markets. As a whole, I should say, not in every market. The biggest problem for Canadian wholesalers is going to be the consumer. I want to tell you right now. I'll tell you why. They're not used to dealing with we buy houses cash type of companies or people. They're used to calling a realtor. Majority of realtors don't understand wholesaling. They don't. 90% of them don't have a clue what it is. You have to explain to them. Yeah. They don't understand the paperwork, the contract. They don't understand the language. So they get really skeptical. So your biggest challenge as a Canadian wholesaler is you have to educate the seller on why they should do business with you. You got to tell them how the process works, which means you have to get educated first. That's the trick, right? If you get educated and you know what you're doing and you have confidence, then you can do it. So it just comes back to competency. Most people fail at this business in Canada because they buy a course, they don't have any competency, they don't know their local market, they maybe do a deal or don't, and then they bail on it and say, wholesaling doesn't work in Canada. But Roger Bannister, bro, right here. You feel me?
I love it, man. One nugget I don't want to brush over, I don't mean to cut you off here, but bringing I think I typed it out here just as you were going. Well, I did own one. So overall, one thing that's even going to help me, I was saying that people listening to this will take something away. The biggest thing I'm taking away, even though I've said this, I know it and have internalized it, but you being the Roger Bannister for this, is not needing to get to a super specific level of your purpose, like just taking action, you'll get there. the one nugget on your last answer that I want folks that can start doing this as soon as they're hearing this, they're still in their car, computer, whatever, is bring a unique value proposition to the table that'll separate you from anybody else who's going direct to that seller with their marketing message. You could probably offer a nugget of advice to expand on that, but that just makes so much sense to me. We kind of talk around that area, but that just makes so much sense as far as just like give them a reason to work with you besides, you know, the simple transaction of buying their house for X amount of dollars, closing in X amount of days.
Well, you just said the answer right there. So I'm going to say something that most people will not clue in. They'll hear me, but they won't understand it. And then 5 years from now, when they watch this again, they're going to understand it and they're going to do it because it happened to me. You have two choices. You can be relational or transactional. Everybody is transactional. I am relational. And everybody who I know is successful is relational. So think about that and add that into your marketing. What does a relational marketing piece look like versus a transactional? What does a relational conversation look like versus a transactional? This business is heavily relying on like referrals are my best source of business. They're the highest ROI because they come from somebody that has done business or that knows us, right? So become super relational with people. If you're not willing to get out there and get to know people and like, guys, you're going to fail. Because here's what everybody does. We buy houses, yellow bandit signs. Me too business. Me too business. I don't have any of that stuff. I don't have we buy houses, right? I don't have any of that stuff. If you look at my marketing, I got a picture of, let me show you. This dog is on a billboard, right?
Love that.
Yeah, my dog Snickers is on billboards. And Snickers buying houses, good or rough. Okay? He's on billboards. I spend more money marketing that dog than I have anything else. And the reason why he's on billboards is because it's different. It's unique. So people call. It's like, oh, I love your dog. He's so cute. It's so amazing. I have a dog too. I know you have a dog because the average Canadian has 1 or 2 pets. So what's unique about your business? Now, here's what happens. All the Me Too's started copying me, right? I got people in other markets. Other people in other markets copying my exact market. Now this cat's doing YouTube videos with his dog in it every day, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But here's something really pivotal that most people don't get. I will create faster than you can copy. Every successful business person thinks exactly the same way. Go ahead and copy me, bro. I don't live in scarcity. There's enough deals for everybody. I used to have a limiting belief about this. I promise you there's enough deals for everybody if you just get out of your own mind. But I will literally create faster than you can copy me.
And that's your identity and truth too. Like, I love hearing you say that because I can see that it's so clear that's how you operate and why you're successfully made Lead Ninja 24 hours from conception to it being done is because that's your identity. What like it's so belief in your purpose that 95% of your behavior goes through that without even you realizing that anybody else, no matter what it is, you're not only not worried, but you're 100% confident that you'll be faster than implementing or getting anything out to market before anybody else in your market, in the United States, whatever.
Yeah, people call that drive. I just call it massive purpose, right? I live with a massive sense of urgency in everything I do, right? Everything is structured, organized. The reason why my guy reached out to you, I was like, man, get me on some podcasts. Like, boom, 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 let's go, boom, 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 let's. Like, we're just growing because I'm taking so much action to grow. Like, it's very intentional on my end. So I will conceptualize and grow and implement way faster. It's also much harder to work with me. Like, you don't want to work in my office unless you're a top dog. You just don't because we want A players here. People who like can execute and close and get stuff done. Where other people will just be content with just doing things for the sake of doing them. We're growing. We're moving quickly. So I think that's a huge piece for us is be authentic to yourself. What I try to do in my marketing is a representation of who I am in marketing form. Because marketing is not bandit signs. You know, that's advertising. Marketing is basically who you are translated to the consumer. That's marketing. So if I'm a Christian with great values and care about people and deeply with massive, deep impact, that's my marketing. That's what I'm giving the world when I do a video or I do a post or I'm doing a billboard or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Everything we do represents that. My real estate firm is called Forte Real Estate. And Forte is an Italian word for strength, for strong. People say commonly, this is my forte, right? That's a common expression. That's why I created Forte Real Estate. This is my forte. I will win this because this is what I'm the best at. And I'm the best because I have the biggest purpose behind what I'm doing. Again, I don't do it for me. I do it for everybody else that I can impact as a result of this. So this is a massive leveraging tool. I can sit here. I can create wealth while I'm doing so, I can impact people right from this chair, right? This is my forte. If you have that level of conviction, folks, nothing will stop you.
Conviction is the word I was looking for when I was talking about internal belief. It's like 100% conviction. When belief gets to a conviction, 100%.
Yeah. So that I operate with a massive level of conviction. If I say I will, I will. If I think it, I will. And sometimes people see it as stubbornness, and it can be, right? You have to self-sacrifice some of your appearance qualities for some of your internal qualities. Here's what I mean. I'm very speed-driven, meaning like if you want to hang out and talk for 6 hours, it's not happening. I got to get stuff done. I got to go. People see that as a weakness, but the wrong people see it as a weakness. The people who aren't taking the same level of action, aren't doing the same things I've done, those people see it as a weakness. People who are in my business circle, like, bro, that's a huge advantage you have that other people are just too slow. So I push myself. So don't be afraid of when other people see you, or see your weaknesses. Those might actually be strengths in development phase. Pursue those. So if you have a short temper, that just means you're passionate, right? People are like, you're always yelling at people. I'm like, dude, I'm passionate, man. You see a weakness, I see a huge strength. Because if I didn't have this, I couldn't cultivate the environment that I have in this space. When you go talk to my office staff, I love it here. It's amazing. Boom. We're doing amazing things. Like my mortgage business, we created a mortgage company that took 80 families out of renting and gave them a fully renovated home that had bad credit. They never would have bought a home 5 years ago. Each of those families has between $40,000 and $70,000 of equity today in their family tree that never would have been there had they not planted the seed and bought a home from our company, which never would have been there had I not been a landlord and asked my tenants, why don't you guys own a home? To realize that the Canadian mortgage system was broken. So I look at my wife and say, we're building a mortgage company. Like, that's passion and purpose. How? I don't have a clue. It's expensive. That's all I knew was going to cost a lot of money. But in 5 years, we did over $15 million in mortgage deals set up. And we've got 80 families that have a home. That is the kind of impact I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So that is, I think, the component that we talk about is the level of conviction beyond doubt. Because if you knock me down tomorrow, take all my wealth, it doesn't change my conviction or my resolve. It'll change my financial situation, which doesn't mean anything. That's the metric that a lot of people use, is the amount of money in the bank. I don't. I've got a different KPI on my success. Does that make sense? Key performance indicators for you guys who are tactical. So know the right KPI for what you're trying to do in life. I guess that's my biggest advice to people. You have to develop your own key performance indicator. How do you gauge your success? Mine is the number of people that I've impacted others. It's not $1 million in the bank or 5 million. The 50 million will just allow me to impact so many more people. And that's why the money is important, but the money is nothing. The money is a tool to get you where you got to go. Does that make sense? It's a vehicle. That's all it is.
100%, man.
You can't look at money like a god. A lot of people serve money. Money is a tool. It's fake. It's a piece of paper like this. This is money. It doesn't mean anything, guys. Because once you know how to create it from scratch, like us, especially wholesalers, we make money like this, right? I could walk in this office, talk to somebody for 20 minutes, and have made $20,000. Guys, that is a power that you have there. What are you going to do with it? Lambos? There's nothing wrong with them. I have one. But is it just Lambos and Raris and rap videos? Or is it go out and impact the world and make a change?
Absolutely love that, man. And right now, it's kind of like the snake eating its tail. So many themes and bullet points that we've hit on: delayed gratification, fulfillment through helping others with this mortgage company we were just talking about, speed to implementation. One thing that we were talking about as this interview kind of started off, we didn't know each other until this, and you had your booking agent do this or set up this interview, is that we were kind of like apologetic to a certain extent of not talking tactical real estate for the first 30, 40 minutes, which I love that. I love talking the qualitative stuff. But that's also snake eating its tail because we're talking marketing strategies. It's such a Me Too industry where now RVMs are completely flooded, and now direct mail is starting to get more effective because so many people went away from that. But that's the snake eating its tail in a sense of when you don't do that and be yourself, which you're talking about, you're going to be more successful and be able to adapt to what's going to work for you. Lead Ninja guys, everybody should be doing some type of bird dog team, not only to kind of like hedge your marketing efforts, but when you're able to do that, you're helping people. You get fulfillment from helping these people JV and learn the business. But that's also, like you said, the ROI on that, the golden ratio, so to say. I put $1 in marketing to make $5 back. That's essentially zero. I guess you're paying out $2-3 grand on the deal, but that's pretty much free leads coming to you. So even 100%. That just breakdown, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense with that. Like, so we do weekly training. I did one last night with the team. We get together on a Zoom call like this, and I've got 20 people on there, and we're talking about stuff. It's not always, again, tactical, right? How do I get leads? How do I get leads? You watch my training videos, you know how to get leads. A lot of it, even for their end, is the mindset of like getting out there, getting those leads working for you. Leverage what you have, people. If you've got energy, leverage your energy. If you've got money, leverage it. If you've got other people's time, leverage that. You have to leverage what you have in life to get to the next level. You have to understand this fact of OPM and OPR, right? Mm-hmm. But like a number that we track a lot is ROMS, return on marketing dollars spent, ROMDS, right? So if you take this number and you plug it in, the biggest thing I learned from Mark was data, not drama. So many times in our life, we focus on the drama because we don't compile the data. Everything in my organization, from our podio to our daily KPIs to our huddles, everything goes in a spreadsheet somewhere in a system someplace. You got to build up the tactical stuff on that end of things, but that will allow you the confidence to go out into the world and do stuff. So I know exactly how many leads comes in here. I know exactly what the ROI is. I know what the conversion is. I know what this stuff is, even though I didn't know when I built it. But as I'm building it, I'm keeping track of what's going on. So I can tell you how many flyers go sell, what's the return on the flyer. By the way, if you're really curious on 250,000 flyers, 0.05% response rate on 250,000 flyers. Okay, so we know this data. We're compiling it as we grow. But don't let it stop you from just taking the massive action and moving forward to grow. Find resources. Like, guys, join leadninja.ca. It's right there. Boom, 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 boom. Just check it out. It's free. There's a whole video there. Just watch it for free. This is interesting, though, because people assume I'm trying to sell people and get hundreds of people in here. The truth is I'm not. I don't want you in here if you have a bad attitude, if you're negative, if you're going to be a problem cause. Like, I don't want you. This program is about identifying people on the come up so that I can help them develop and grow. And that's really what Mark's done very well, is being very relational. Mark does more deals with other competition in his market than anybody else. When was the last time you literally threw a party and invited all your competitors out just to hang out? Nobody does this. Because they're so like ego driven. He's going to get my lead. He's going to get my business. I've started to understand that the most amount of lead flow will come from other people that know you. Like GC says, they can't flow you if they don't know you. So go to your competitors and say, how do we work together? How can I help you? How do I give you value? How can we reciprocate a relationship? Because in 50 years from now, you can either make 5 enemies or you can have 5 friends for 50 years. There's enough money to go around, but it always takes one person to be the abundant thinking mindset person in the room. Because everybody else is typically scarcity in business because they haven't made it yet. So that's why I told you guys have to make $1 million because it'll change your stinking thinking, right? Once you become a millionaire, net worth, it'll change your mindset from like, I can only get to 50 if I collaborate. Because you will not make 50 on your own. It's just not possible. Just like I can be financial independence, I can save all my money, I can save my way to $1 million, but you're not saving your way to $100 million. So I don't look at the cost of things anymore. I don't look at saving money on things anymore. I look at the income producing ability, I look at the relationship producing ability and things, and then I just do them. So like, why would I spend $5,000 to bring these people out to Windsor like I did last month and throw a huge party for them and training and support and rap songs and like just love on them with no expectation back? Because you don't know what that return is going to be. But I've built relationships with my whole team, right? So we're just afraid, I think, a lot of times to spend money and spend our resources because we're afraid it's not going to come back to us. We live like this, right? We live like this instead of living like this.
Amazing breakdown there, man. Super valuable just hearing high value people, high value business people, entrepreneurs, just hearing their philosophies explained really sinks into people's, brains and operating system. I have one last question for you before I want to make sure I get all your, IG where people can reach out to you, everything like that. I'm personally curious, and I think that, people still listening to this amazing episode will be enticed to hear. And this kind of goes to the Roger Bannister point. We talk to a lot of high value people, a lot of high value humans and a lot of high value entrepreneurs, or high level, I should say, or both high level for this point. What are the biggest, and this is Roger Bannister, just to give people kind of like, you know, inspiration and also like, damn, like, 'cause, you know, everybody has their down days, or like, it's easy when business is going well, isn't it? Like when business is going amazing, you're getting those big wholesale fees, or, you know, whatever business or life is going good, relationships. It's easy to do that. That's when you crush it. The thing is, no matter who you are, whoever you idolize, whoever you think are the top people, religious figures, whoever, they're going to go through struggles and obstacles. So I want to know from you, being so high level, high value person, amazing human, what are the biggest struggles you're going through right now in your business, and even like the mental struggles you're having right now? What are the biggest ones you're having right now, or something recent that you can share with the audience to kind of give that Roger Bannister social proof that they can overcome similar things in their lives and their business, their structure, things like that?
One of the biggest struggles that I have, and you'll have in growing a business, is the thought of you're not a good enough leader to lead people to success. Because the people on your team, ultimately, if they're successful, you're successful. You're a reflection of them. Mm-hmm. The biggest challenge I have in leading people is number one, making sure that you have the right people with the right mindset that want to be led. Great people want to be led by great leaders. Average people don't care because they're not looking for any more than what they have. One of the biggest challenge I have is really identifying with the team, whether it's this team or the other team. Am I really doing what I need to do to help cultivate the kind of environment that elicits growth in them? Or am I holding them back because I'm being my own bottleneck? So every leader goes through this bottleneck thing, and it's a fighting, limiting belief that we have to overcome. Saying, no, I've done my part. They either haven't leveled up, or they're the wrong people. So that's the challenge, is making sure that we stay relevant. Because a lot of times we get together and, you know, we're doing conversations. Chris has this. Sometimes he does coaching. He's like, I talk about the same thing every week, all week. People still don't get it. Is it they don't get it, or they just don't want to get it? Right? So my biggest challenge and opportunity, because I look at it both ways. Biggest opportunity, go find the absolute best people you can and then lead them. Because some leaders look amazing, but I know because they have great quality people. So I learned this a lot last week, is you really have to elevate your circle, right? And we all hear this all the time in terms of mentorship, but elevate your entire circle all the time. Find the best absolute people you can in every area of your life. So if you're growing a team, find the absolute best manager, the absolute best VP, the absolute best guy that washes the floors. And a lot of that has to do with attitude. The person who skips to work and sings along all day, that's the person I want on my team. Even though if they need education in terms of like understanding the job components better, but once they have the right attitude, that is 90% of the battle, is attitude mindset. So not only do you have to develop your own mindset, but absolutely refuse to allow other people's negativity affect you. So we get haters on social media, on Instagram. I wear a gold suit and I do rap songs. Like, what do you think's gonna happen, right? Yeah. And it used to really bother me at first, because I conservative Christian guy, I was like, it bothers me that people think I'm with something that I'm not. Make accusations. When I was the first wholesaler, this kid made a video about how wholesaling is a scam, and he targeted at me and Chris, and dude got like thousands of views, right? And I felt hurt about that. And then I realized something really pivotal, which was, when I'm 70 years old and I look back on my life, is what these people think gonna affect what I need to do at that point.
Great filter to think through.
So I go all the way to the end of my life cycle. Does it matter then what these people think today? And if the answer is no, then that is the only way that I can move through all the negativity, the hate, the bullshit, the crap, right? So that's what I try to do. I filter it through that process. So same thing right now. Is my company growing? No. Do I have the right people? Is the first thing. So my biggest thing is this. I'll end with this piece. People are everything. People are great companies. People are great relationships. People are everything you want is in other people. So GC says, who has my money? I want to know who has my people. Where are they in the world? I have a girl that we go to sushi for the last 5 years. Every Friday night, my wife is on a date night. And this girl is the most authentic, positive, energetic person. That's my people. I'm like, I offered her a job. I was like, anytime you want, you call me. I'll find a place for you. So get the absolute best people in your life, and you'll notice the reason why I get in a room with Mark Evans and those guys, and Tim and Matt Larson and those guys, is because when I'm in a room with those guys, the energy is powerful. It's like 50 of me. And we're all energetic. We're all pushing each other. We're all challenged with different things, but we're all growing effectively together. So if you want to lead people, then you got to allow yourself to be led by other people. right? So that's my final closing point is find the absolute best people you can with the biggest hearts and invest your time in those people. Even if you don't compute the ROI on the front end. Because those are the relationships that 30, 40, 50 years from now, or when you're 70 in that nursing home, like, that was my buddy. We came up together, right? But identify those relationships now and don't settle for relationships that don't work. My biggest success piece is my wife. I married a woman who believed in me, and we lived on half a paycheck for 7 years while we saved literally half of our income. Everything she's made in the last 11 years, I'm talking a person who makes multiple six figures. Everything she's made, she's given to me to invest in my company. That's sacrifice. That's getting the right people on your team. So if you can get a woman like that who believes in you, who's willing, when she was making more than me and I had a janitorial business, I was scrubbing floors for years and cleaning carpets and scrubbing toilets. Talk about humbling, right? She would give me her paycheck and say, go invest it, go do something, go get some education, go do whatever. So that's what it is, folks. People. People are the beginning, people are the end of your life. Just make sure you impact as many and make sure you allow yourself to be impacted by the positive ones.
Dude, amazingly said. I need to find a wife/woman like that in my life. But dude, amazing interview. Sometimes these where we meet, on the fly here, where it's booked through third party or, someone working for you, turn out to be the best ones. Exactly the case with this. I want to know where people can reach out to you, man. And again, even me, just specific things. Like I said, I know that we run this whole show to bring value to our community and growing audience. But even for me, like I could say, like after this interview, I genuinely appreciate the way you live your life, choose to live your life, and the inspiration you brought me. Even the specific thing that I'm going to take away from this episode is like not worrying about having a super dialed in, specific, tactical minded purpose, kind of being more general, taking action from there, and it'll get refined along the way.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I think it's going to be a massive difference. It took me a long time to get that shift, but I appreciate you for having me on the show. If you guys want to reach out, I'm available, right? Everybody's always available. So I'm on IG, Ben Humble CEO. You can go to my website, humble.ceo, or check me out. I think Facebook, same thing, Ben Humble CEO. Guys, get connected. If you're interested in this stuff in Canada, check it out, leadninja.ca. Just see if it's for you. It might not be, guys. It's an interview process with this, just so you know. If you want to sign up for this company, we're going to interview you, and we're going to make sure you're a good fit for our culture, and you're a good fit for what we're trying to do. But the people that have a good fit, have a good attitude, and are willing to put in the work, in 5 years from now, we could be the largest real estate division in your town because we partnered together, right? And that's my whole purpose with this, is to identify people, find the guy that I was 10 years ago that just needed somebody. And unfortunately, my experience wasn't great. A lot of it, I'm sure, was my own fault for not reaching out more. But I'm trying to find the people who want to do more in life and just be a positive beacon of hope to them. Show them the way I've done it, and let's just grow together. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, Carlos, for having me on, man. You're an amazing human, man, and I can just tell by the way that you think, the way you speak and communicate, it's amazing. So I'd love to. We're gonna stay in contact, man. We're gonna do some stuff. I appreciate you, bro.
Genuinely appreciate that, man. Likewise, right back at you. Guys, amazing episode here. Please give Ben a shout. I'm going to follow him on Instagram myself here, and I'll shoot you a message just to connect after this. I'll definitely send you my address here in Baltimore to get your book. I'm sure from thought to conception that'll be out in about 24 hours, like the Lead Ninja. But thanks again for checking out this episode, guys. Leave a review. Check out Ben on those social media outlets, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.
Take care. Stay humble.